Okay, I'm going to tell you guys in very, very short why you don't give tax breaks to rich people in a country that is already severely in debt and doesn't have a sufficient means of making any of that capital back. And this whole big, beautiful bill, I don't know at what point in the Trump presidency you guys are going to want to accept that this is not like a good person for America. But I hope you guys realize this is one of, if not the pivotal moment in this presidency that is defining the things that I've already been talking about for the past couple of months. Reaganomics in its first form was just to say, hey, we can put somebody in office that makes it legal to perpetuate wealth inequality. We're at the end of the line of perpetuation. We're at that point where we have to create a system that allows wealth inequality to be permanent, or in the same sense, just eternal. Because most of our issues come from a bunch of people depend on the government. The government needs to collect money from the people who live there and operate business here so it can pay those people. But wealthy people don't want to pay taxes. So to keep them here, we're going to reduce their taxes and then increase the taxes on people who, mind you, depend on the government for assistance. Because that makes sense. People who don't have money depend on a system that needs money from people who hoard their money. Now let's get into the perspective that I'm getting into and why you're not supposed to give rich people tax breaks. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and say all rich people are smart, but many rich people have a very similar conscience as to how they behave, and it's very contradictory to how poor people behave. But it's not in a derogatory sense. It's important for how the economy works. When you give tax breaks to rich people, they aren't going to spend that because more times than not, they don't have any bills or urgent or past due bills that they still need to pay, that they're accruing interest or a lot more debt on. They're going to hold on to that money until they need to invest it somewhere else that will make them more money. More times than not, rich people will do this. That's a horrible fucking thing for the economy, because you're saying that a poor person probably, or a working class person, creates wealth through business, legal wealth through business and their employment in this system. And then a rich person is going to recoup on that wealth to take it out of the system, because more times than not, they're taking that money into real estate, into other forms of investments or foreign land investments and other foreign types of banking. So they're taking American dollars that were generated by employees into their pockets out of this country. So then they can get even better tax benefits from other countries as well, because none of these wealthy people have any allegiance to any nation. You should have seen this with Elon Musk. You should see it with Donald Trump. They have no allegiance to any nation. Their only allegiance is their pocketbook and whoever else is going to keep filling it up. But that's horrible when rich people keep on taking money out from the bottom and filling their own pockets with it, because all they're doing is making Mount Olympus on the top of society so heavy with no foundation beneath it, it is inevitably going to crash down. And since these wealthy people that we live under don't understand the word accountability or fraud, they're still going to find a way to try to blame us for the way this system is happening. And if they do, the best way to sedate people from seeing that their human rights and their human reality is being stolen in front of their face is give them a religion. So they're going to keep on saying, oh, the world is crashing around you because Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. Like Paul Revere or some shit. No, Jesus is not coming. Because if Jesus was coming, Jesus would have been here already. And the descendants of the people who killed Jesus wouldn't still be in power. Even better yet, they wouldn't have had to kill Jesus at the time that he was existing, if you believe that story. The point I'm trying to get to is that when we keep on giving tax breaks to the people who already struggle to pay taxes, already struggle to keep all of their investments and their obligations in this country, we are giving money away to private investors. Now, on the contrary, or on the opposite side of that, the reason why it's so important, we're going to speak specifically about that COVID relief fund. When you give poor people money, they're almost guaranteed going to spend it in the country that they are in, because they have obligations, they have debts, they have responsibilities that they are backed up on, that they have to pay off. Them paying their bills stimulates the economy because it's paying a bill to somebody they're in debt to, whether it's a person or a business, helps them have capital so they can spend that on their life, and then they can spend that on another person who can. Everybody is starting to help each other because money is now flowing, because people who didn't have it and were immobilized because of that can now make decisions with it. Even if it's wrong, poor financial decisions, poor people force money to move in a system where money is literally blood in this body of a capitalist system that we live under. So you're going to tell people, poor people, save, save, save. There's no jobs. There's no money being created. There's no economic value. So it doesn't matter how much you save. You're going to be penny pinching at the end of the day. So we're supposed to feel guilty and ashamed for being poor or for not having access to resources. But if we had access to resources, we would be the thing that keeps this American economy alive. Not just our labor force and being slaves, but it's actually our participation, how we spend the $5 that we have. You know what I'm starting to realize this actually has a better chance of leading to? If we don't want to address the wealth inequality part. I'm posting a YouTube video either today or tomorrow about this exact topic. But basically, there's going to be so many poor people who lack assistance from the federal government that we pledge allegiance to every morning. And because of that, it's going to create so much fear and anxiety to like general working class Americans who like aren't impacted as heavily by these standards or this change of legislation, that fear will be exploited to justify increasing our federal military and defense budget. So much so that we're basically living in like a militarized police state, and it's used to regulate all the people who don't have access to accommodations that would help them live their lives and healthily. And I made this Batman take a long time ago too, but it's basically rich people wanting to invest their money in toys they can use to feel like the science fiction fantasy characters that they dreamed of being as children, rather than using their money responsibly to investing in the systems that would actually stop human beings having to pursue really ridiculous routes of experience to access basic accommodations, housing, funding, support, love. It's in a very short sense. I know I used a bunch of words there, but wealthy people would rather create Gotham City just so they could play Batman rather than create a world worth living in. Because no matter what, if they're playing Batman, not only do they get to create all the toys to play with, but we are forever at the mercy of these people and of their desire to save us, which is really not because they genuinely want to save us. It's because they want to make themselves look good or feel superior or like a superhero. So even if we aren't appreciative of the ways that they're trying to save us or to manufacture their salvation of us, they're just still going to be mad anyway, unless they look like the gods they want to be like.